days of the Trump presidency. We were talking about Rudy Giuliani and the role he played inside Trump world, almost as a pariah. In some cases, almost as a circus freak here.
Well, everybody is trying, literally everybody in the administration and in the family is trying to keep Rudy out.
You write, almost everybody left in the White House was fighting not to overturn the election, but fighting the band of oddballs and irregulars that the president had enlisted to fight the election.
I mean, everybody knew that these were crazy people. Everybody knew that what was going on here was abnormal and dangerous and, on top of everything else, ludicrous.
All right. You also write extensively about election night itself. And there's across journalism right now, there are a lot of people who point to the moment Arizona was called by Fox as something flipped a switch with Trump. He was really upset when Arizona was called for Fox, was called by Fox for Joe Biden. You suggest that it was Rupert Murdoch who ultimately made the decision, the final decision to make that call. You write, Lachlan got his father on the phone to ask if he wanted to make the early call. His father, with signature grunt, assented, adding, F him. Now, Fox disputes this. They say the account is completely false. Aaron Mishkin, who leads the Fox News decision desk, made the Arizona call on election night, and Fox News media president Jay Wallace was then called into the control room. Any other version of the story is wildly inaccurate.
Yeah, they just lie. I have I'm Rupert Murdoch's biographer, so I have spent more time with Murdoch than any other journalist not in his employ. I at this point in my life and career, I know what Rupert thinks before he thinks it. There's no question here. I don't suggest this. I know for a fact this is what happened. There is no possibility that Rupert Murdoch on election night is not calling almost every shot. This is the day of all days for Rupert.
All right. Again, I did read the Fox statement, so people know what Fox now says about this. You also say Bill Hemmer called the Trump campaign, Fox anchor Bill Hemmer, to tell them that Fox was about to call Arizona for Biden. And Hemmer says that never happened, is completely untrue.
Right. And the person he called, Jason Miller, says, oh, yes, that happened. And there were many people around who heard it happened. So there's no question here. I mean, they're just dissemblers and liars.
All right, I want to talk about Mar-a-Lago today because you were there.
I was.
You went down there and you write, Trump is not just the former president living in a Florida country club. He's also the greeter and tumbler, pressing the flesh with his customers. He and Melania dine every night on the Mar-a-Lago patio behind a red rope, rather like zoo animals.
Yeah, everybody's looking. It's even beyond that, as I thought about this, because everyone's clearly looking at them, but in a way they're more like a bride and groom every night. They're the wedding party at the head table. They don't really talk to each other. They just spend all of dinner being greeted. Trump is going on, blah, 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 blah. And he talks, his conversation is interesting because it's not toward one person. It's like this conversation and then he can just move it. And it just keeps going. It's like a spread. And Melania is she's very gracious. Hello, hi, thank you so much. Yes. I mean, this goes on, and this goes on every night. This is what they do.
So one of the former president's obsessions over the election and life seems to be how the Supreme Court wasn't there for him after the election. He seems to think that the justices that he nominated owed it to him to side with him, particularly Brett Kavanaugh. He says he feels betrayed.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it is a very clear quid pro quo. He put them on the court. He defended them. Therefore, it is their obligation to defend him. And indeed, throughout the election challenge, Giuliani would say to the president, as they lost court case after court case after court case, Giuliani would say, well, it doesn't matter because we're going to get to the Supreme Court. We would say, it's good we lost this case. We get to the Supreme Court faster. And of course, the Supreme Court will decide for us. They are in our pocket.
I want to leave with this question here. So where does this go from here? What does it mean that there is this person who you think is untethered from reality and borderline crazy saying these things? It clearly has an impact with people who follow him.
Yeah, no, I think I mean there are these two interesting sides. All of the people closest to him completely reject almost. I mean they acknowledge his delusion, they reject his delusion. But we have a good part of the country, 25%, 30%, maybe 40%, who is totally in the thrall of this man. And there are two questions. What does this mean? Where does this go? And how did this happen? And maybe the how did this happen question is the one that we have to answer. And my answer to that is that Donald Trump is not a politician. He doesn't care about being a politician. He is a performer. And that's the thing that moves him. The thing that moves him is the attention of other people. And he has so aligned this. He will do whatever he has to do to sustain that attention.
Michael Wolff, the book is Landslide.